Now we believe, not because of your words, they said to the woman, but because we have experienced it. The third Sunday of Lent, and this Sunday, is very special because it begins the journey to the baptismal. And you know that the vigil of Easter, the great feast of Easter, is the waters of baptism. And so today we are going to speak about water, next Sunday about light, and then of course about life, the last one about Lazarus. So we are going to see how this woman come to experience Jesus. And that is what Lent is all about, dear people. In the first reading today we see how God entered into the life of the chosen people and really become their rescuer. And even when they turn against him, he performed a miracle through Moses to bring water in the desert, which is impossible to find, to cut the thirst of these people who are very aggravated at Moses and even at God. In fact, they say, is God among us? But God remembered that he is in charge, and he will never allow you to do anything without a plan that he has already formed for you. He is going to bring them out of Egypt and let them die in the desert. No, he is going to sustain them. But because of the lack of faith and because the lack of trust in him, they experience the fragility of our nature, human nature. With that in mind, we go in the gospel today. Jesus is traveling, as you know, coming towards Jerusalem because he is coming for the Passover. He is coming to be sacrificed himself. And as he going now, he passed Samaria. And while he was coming to Samaria, he rested at the well, near the well that Jacob gave to the Samaritans. And many people claim that this well was given to them, to Ismail, to the Hagar son. And that is why they say we worship here, because what is called the Jews that there were born, that they come to be the children of Abraham, the free woman, is the Jewish people. The other one, born of Hagar, is the other part that they were born of Hagar. And we know that this woman came to bring water, draw water. And while Jesus doing the job to take water to the town from this well, he said to her, "Give me some water." So Jesus used the experience of our nature. We know that our nature can get thirsty and hungry. And from that very experience, he wants to bring now a relationship with this woman. He began, "Give me some water." And the woman was so surprised, because he is a Jew. He does not even walk where they walk. He does not drink from the utensils they drink. He cannot even salute themselves because they have to go separate on the road. And now he is asking her to share from her bucket the water. And Jesus said to her, if you were really aware who is asking you to drink, you will ask him to give you the living water. And the woman, of course, with common sense, said to him, "You have no bucket, how can you give me water? The well is so deep." And Jesus said to her, "Whoever drinks of me will never thirst." And that changed the picture. Now the woman began to have an interconversion. She began to see with Jesus talk to her that now she experienced someone that is different from other men. That he is not talking about the water of and the depth of the well, but he is talking about something very, very spiritual and interior. And because of this, Jesus now is asking her to go and bring her husband. She said, "I have no husband." She was not lying. And Jesus said to her, "Of course, you have 5 husbands, and the one you're living with is not your husband. You're not married to him." And she was shocked that he knows this personal way about her. And now Jesus come to know her, and she comes to understand that she needs to surrender to him. And Jesus now As he sent her to the town, she went and bring the people of town, because she has found the Messiah. And now the apostles came and they questioned Jesus. Why you don't want to eat? Somebody brought you something to eat? No, my hunger is not what you think. I have different hunger. And that is what Jesus cried from the cross. I am thirsty. Thirst not for the vinegar that they gave him, but thirsty for souls. That's what Jesus came from heaven to save souls. And this is what the church needs to take it seriously. We are not here to run bingo or to run parishes. We are here to save souls. That is the ministry of the church. And Jesus was so adamant about it. He was so strong about it that he told the apostles, not that I am not hungry, but now I have different hunger. The hunger for her soul. And when the people came and began to talk to him, they experienced again interconversion. And they said again to the woman, we believe not because you said so, but we believe because we have experienced him. Let us look at St. Paul today, writing to the Romans. He said, God entered into our life when we were sinners. He said somebody will have the courage to die for a just man, and many times we find ourselves in a situation that we need to voice ourselves for the underdog, because that person is going through a very hard time and he does not deserve it. But he said it is sometimes it is very hard and even to die for a just man, more and more to die for somebody who is not good. But Jesus died for us when we were enemy to the cross, when we were enemy to him. What is the lesson we learn from this? As I told you, we are moving towards Easter. And the fountain of baptism is the most important part of this passage that we read today. In the old days, in the old church, speaking about the 4th, 5th century, the holy baptism was given only at the vigil of Easter. And the man or the woman preparing for the baptism, they have to go to roughly about 7 years of preparation. And also for the lapsed Catholic, for those who are Catholic and they turn away from the faith, they have to wait 21 years before they are united again with the church. Because it's a time of moratoria, it's a time of conversion, it's a time that they are sincere about what they are doing. And that's why the church focused on the vigil of Easter, on the blessing of the water and the baptismal. Because the baptismal is where we died with Christ, and from the baptism we rise with him. There is the baptismal where Christ died and entered the tomb, and from the tomb he rise. That's exactly what this liturgy is all about. It's about the waters of baptism that each one of us received. That each one of us are like Jesus, are calling to ministry. And the ministry is to bring people to the water. And our water is not the water that we drink from the tap or from the bottle that we buy. Our water, the spring of water, the fountain of water is Jesus Christ. We need to bring them to Jesus. We need to bring them to that fount. We need to make them understand that there is no happiness and there is no conversion of heart and soul unless we come to Jesus. And he who have hunger for us is waiting for us. Is waiting like the prodigal son waiting for his son to return home. And that is what he is asking us, to renew our baptismal call. By renouncing Satan from our lives, renouncing sin from our life, and renew again the vows of baptism. Those vows by which we become members of the family of God and also heirs of the kingdom. As we go to the celebration of the Mass today, let us pray in a very special way that we have that same attitude of the Samaritan woman who come to experience Jesus. This is something that is very, very special and also is very demanding from every Christian today. that we need to experience Jesus. Because without experiencing Jesus, we are going to the rituals. We are going to the Lenten season without knowing where we are going. We need to stop and think. We need to reflect on our sinfulness. We need to talk whom we are. We need to say to Jesus, that's what I am. I am the sinner that the good thief from the cross said. We deserve what we are going to get, but he is innocent. In other words, have mercy on me, O Lord, because of my sinfulness. And this is really a very important message for the Lenten season. That I reflect on my own, I become conscious of my sinfulness, and I want to wash away those sins from me as I wash them in baptism to the merits of the death and resurrection of Jesus, which is given to me in the sacrament of penance. May we who experience that beautiful conversion in our hearts through the relationship with Jesus begin a new journey towards the baptismal, so that when we celebrate Easter and renew our baptismal vows, it's not just words, but we meant it. Because now sin is not anymore part of our life, and now we are living not for ourselves, but for Him, who are sent like the woman of Samaria to go and bring the good news to those who need it. God bless you.